What's up, everyone? Welcome to today's Tuesday training and coaching, where I'm going to show you how to put signs in the ground today. As everybody's coming on, want to welcome everybody. Thanks for joining us. Here's what I would encourage everybody to do. Time block these things, in our trainings and everything. I know a lot of y'all you're very consistent. You're here all the time. I just want you to know that when I show up, I don't show up to waste your time. So I just show up to bring you value. As I was getting ready for today, I just, I'm thinking about you. What could I do to help you go out there and make your life and business a lot easier? So just time block this every week. I promise you, I won't waste your time. It's worth your time to work on the business. So growing, learning, educating, all of these things are important. It's what we do in this organization. It's why we have so much amazing training to be a part of. Now, I love training, but you know what I love more than training is action. So I know that y'all get a lot of training. So my question is this, is how much training do you get versus action that you're taking? Coaching and training is great. Action is even better because you're going to learn more in the trenches out there doing the things that we got to do before you master it and learn it. So I would just encourage you that taking the action every single day is what's going to make you get there faster. You won't know all the answers to everything until you start doing it and you get out there and do it. Like today, I'm going to give you a lot of scripts. I'm going to give you a lot of tools. I'm going to hook you up like a tow truck, but at the end, it doesn't matter if you don't do anything with it. And so today what I want to do is I want to talk about my favorite subject. In fact, I'm going to share my screen because you guys like it when I do that. So I'm going to share my screen and I am going to talk about my favorite topic, which is listings, which is my favorite niche, FSBOs. Y'all love FSBOs? You know what I love about FSBOs is this, it's the fastest way to put signs in the ground. It's a toss up between FSBOs and expireds. I would say this, there's two different approaches to both of these niches. I talked about expireds last week with the new year. A lot of you have been going out there getting results. I want to talk about FSBOs because it's a great market and right now, and it's going to continue to be growing. And FSBOs are always there, and this system works. It's the easiest way I know to put signs in the ground. Here's why it's easy, because with this niche, these people are, I don't want to say nicer than expireds, but they are. So for some of you high D personalities, the expireds are a good niche. For you high I personalities, the FSBOs are a good niche. So if you're somebody out there that doesn't like the phone, doesn't like rejection, doesn't like to, all of that, this niche right here is for you. And so I would tell you this, I think everybody should have a system for sale by owners in their business, because 100% of this niche wants to sell. And so much of this is just, it's having the conversation with them and converting them. And I'm going to give you a play-by-play on how to do it from the campaigns and everything. So get ready, take lots of notes. I will be talking fast because I do have a lot to cover in our hour together, but I'm going to show you how to list 28 FSBOs in 28 days. How's that sound? By the way, people say, well, where'd you get the 28 from? In fact, this is my first month of going after for sale by owners. I listed 28 of them in 30 days, in 28 days, but in a month I took 28 listings. That's a lot, y'all. I was 21 years old. Every day going on listing appointments. So I'm going to show you how I did it and how you can too. But I'm just curious, how many listings do you want to take in the next 4 weeks? Will you guys type it in the question box? I just want to know, how many listings do you want to take in the next 4 weeks? You see, I wanted to take 30 listings in a month. I wanted a listing a day was always my thing. But for you, how many additional listings do you want to take in the next 4 weeks? It is January. It is listing season. It's a new year. I want this system to be in place in your business to not only set you up for a great year, but also with the upcoming spring market, there's going to be even more of these folks that come on the market. I believe with the upcoming real estate market in general, there's going to be a lot of for sale by owners because there's confidence in the marketplace. When you have confidence in the marketplace, sellers think that they can get the job done themselves. Let me just see, what do we got? Let's see the chats. Let's see what y'all want to do here. Where you at? There we go. Let's see, 8. Let's see where we at. 30. I like that, JC. 30, 10, 12. Good job. Maria, 5. Casey, 35. Look at you. Roger, 20. Paola, 10. Sarah, 4. Brennan, what's up, buddy? 5. Matt's at 15. Jacob, 4. Hannah, 8. Lisa, 28. I like that. Monique, 30. So I'm going to show you how to do it. Here we go. There we go. I'm going to share this quote because I believe that genius is the realm of devotion to a craft of daily study, sacrifice, and endless practice, while the rest of the world chases shiny toys that seem important in the moment. I started this training off with talking about how important action is. And it's really important because we don't want to chase shiny objects. It's not going to get us closer to where we want to be. We want to be able to master a skill, master a practice. So because we have freedom in that. Like, I know, I mean, with this, for example, once you know this, you can go to any market in any part of the country and get listings. And there's a lot of freedom in knowing that you can do that. You need a system and you need skills. And I'm going to show you this system today. I'm going to show you how to list 5 to 28 FSBOs in the next 30 days. I'm going to show you how proven ways to read the for sale by owner's mind, how to build a FSBO listing producing machine, 3 things that you must do to win this game of FSBOs, and how to go out and get the FSBO to tell you yes every time. I'm going to show you a 92-day FSBO execution plan that gets results. It's the plan that you're going to follow that every FSBO goes on, and then the best scripts that actually work, because there's no freedom in not knowing what to say. You know what I'm saying? If you don't know what to say, we don't have confidence. So much of this game, y'all, is about confidence. Do you all agree with that? Confidence. So what can we do to get more confident? I was talking to my wife about kids. You know, we were talking about successfully launching our kids. I have an 8-year-old, 9-year-old, 16-year-old girl. And we were talking about how do we successfully launch them? You know, how do you go from, raising them to, okay, you're on your own? And the answer is confident kids. We got to have confident kids. So we're talking about what can we do to build confidence in our kids? Sports is a great way, right? But so like, this is no different than you. What makes successful agents is confidence in themselves, confidence in their ability. I know for me, my first year, I told you all this before, if you are just joining us, I went broke my first 6 months in real estate. I didn't list a single home. I was working 80 hours a week. And when I discovered this niche for sale by owners, it changed my life. I literally went to the office and I saw this guy, that was my age, that was a top agent in the office. And I went to him, I said, what are you doing to have such a huge team? And he goes, have you ever heard of for sale by owners? And I was like, yeah, I do. I have heard about them. And he goes, well, that's what I do. He goes, have you ever heard of Warnox? I'm like, no, what's Warnox? He said, they send you a list of all the for sale by owners every single day. And that one piece of information, y'all, changed everything for me. I went to my apartment. I got Warnox, which is now Landvoice, by the way. I'll give you guys a link for that here in a bit. But I got the service the very same day I took my first listing. 30 days later, I had 30 listings. I finished my first year at 8 million in sales. All came from my second part of my first year. All of those transactions were for sale by owners. Changed my life. So some of you may be sitting there like going, well, what do? I don't have a system. I'm going to encourage you to lean in on the FSBOs because it is the path to go out and not only build confidence, but really just dominate the market. And that's actually how I got started trading and coaching. I was a young kid listing the hell out of houses. Everybody wanted to know what I was doing. And so I would teach real estate classes in my office. I had 1,000 realtors in my Keller Williams office when I sold real estate. And I did trainings. And I taught them everything that I knew. I was like, here's what I say, here's what I do, so some people wouldn't do that. They wouldn't train their competitors, but I do, it was up to them to go out there and do the work. The reality is most people just didn't do it. You know what I'm saying? They just don't do it. So be one who does it. Be one who is willing to put in the work. And it's not even that much work. This is actually a lot of fun, which you're going to learn. More listings equal freedom. If you want more freedom in your real estate business, control your inventory. Because here's why you want to control your inventory. Every listing that you have produces 2.7 buyer leads. So whoever has the inventory controls the market. So if you don't have inventory, then you have to go buy leads. You got to go depend on other people to do these things. So this is the key to not only not have to buy leads, but it's the key to freedom and time. If you don't want to work weekends, have listings, let buyers agents work the weekends. So what can you do to go out there and put more signs in the ground? I'm going to cover 4 pillars of success today. The 4 pillars are mindset. Haas, you always talk about mindset. I know. We always start with mindset because we can't change unless we change the way we think. Then we got to have a strategy in place. We can't just go haphazard at the market because execution is so important. We got to execute the strategy, and then that leads to more conversations, more opportunities. How do we persuade and influence these sellers to say yes, to convince them that we are a better option for them? And these are the 4 pillars I'm going to cover today. So with that, y'all, let's roll. How we doing? How we doing on time? Let's see. Yeah, we got a good group here today. 36. Let's see if we can hit 40. Here we go. Number 1, we got to think the right way. The FSBO mindset, not only your mindset, but how the for sale by owner thinks. I want you to start thinking in terms of niches. There's riches and niches. I covered this last week. You want 4 niches that you dominate. Your SOI, your sphere of influence, is one, but there's 3 more that we got to have. And I believe that this niche, FSBOs, is a great niche to be able to go out there and be one of those 4, just because of the results that it brings and the ability to scale it in any market. And here's why. I want to share these facts with you. 85% of FSBOs eventually hire a realtor. 89% of all buyers purchase their home through a real estate agent. And the typical FSBO home sold for 25% less than agent-assisted sales. So here's what this tells us. The reason it's so hard for a FSBO to sell their home on their own is because all the buyers are working with you. And, so if 89% of the buyers are working with realtors, I mean, that's the reason 85% end up hiring an agent. So I want you to think of all the FSBOs in your market that come on the market every day, every week, and just know 85% of them are going to end up signing a listing agreement with one of your competitors if it's not you. I would like for you to be in a position to capture as much of that 85% as you possibly can. I call it dominating the niche. And that's what we want to do. We want to crush everybody. I remember that guy that told me about Warnox. He regretted it heavily because I became his biggest competitor. We were then on every listing appointment together. We competed on every single listing. I took so many listings from him because I was actually one of the ones that actually did it. And here's why. Statistically, if you call a list of FSBOs 3 times, you're going to talk to 68% of them. You know why I like this niche? Because you have conversations. Those conversations lead to confidence. They lead to skills. They lead to opportunities. So anytime we can talk to 68% of the people, I mean, that's huge. I mean, why is that? Because they answer their phone. You could be a buyer. So when you call a FSBO, they're going to answer their phone because they're selling their home, and you could be that buyer. And that's what's so huge. And the conversions to appointments is almost 20%. 19.2% conversion rate on every conversation. Set appointments to actual appointments is 78%. That means that they show up. They're not going to stand you up, right? You're going to have an opportunity to sit across the kitchen table from these sellers. And the actual appointments to contracts is 54%. and contracts to transactions is 66%. I do not know of another niche that gives us these types of numbers. And here's what's the number one thing. You have to have more conversations in 2022. And with this opportunity, you're going to be able to have a lot more of those conversations. But we got to set the intention. So what does success look like to you? And I want you just to commit to something. Commit to an intention. Like you would write a statement. It's as simple as this. I am the top FSBO listing agent in Collin County, Texas by January 1st. What is top? Because you got to define it. Listing 19 FSBOs per month and getting buyer side referral fees for 33% of their purchases. So not only do we get a listing, but these folks are going somewhere. You know, let's say if I'm selling their house in Texas and they're moving to Minnesota, I'm going to call Tad, say, Tad, I got this FSBO that's moving up there and I'm going to get a referral fee. So like, not only do you get the commission on the sale, but you also get the commission on the buy side. So I want you to define what success looks like to you in this niche. Like I always, from the very beginning, day one, I said, I want to list 30 FSBOs a month. I want to take 30 listings every single month. That was my intention. One listing every single day. And so you want to know what that is for you. And there's three things that we got to do to win this game. These are the key. Number one is we got to provide value to the FSBO. Like I'm not calling a FSBO to list the house. I'm calling the FSBO to bring them value. I'm calling them to ask them questions. Remember, I'm the doctor. They're the patient because I'm looking for the pain so I can do two, which is present solutions to that pain. Presenting solutions is going to solve a lot of problems. In the absence of solutions, you have a salesperson. Well, let's just face it. Nobody likes salespeople. You know what I'm saying, y'all? They don't like salespeople. But we don't want to, and if we don't have a solution, that it relies on all these other things that don't matter, which is us, and they only care about themselves, their time, and their money. And three is persuasion and influence. Imagine this. Imagine having the skill to be able to convert any FSBO, any seller for that matter, if you can get them on the phone. Like I remember, I became legendary for this. When I was doing seminars, I was on the road 200 days a year. And I was like 26. I looked like I was really young. So I'd be like in places, I'm like, what are you going to teach me? And one of the ways that I would separate me from all the other trainers and gurus out there is I would have somebody come up. I'd give them a list of FSBOs. And I would say, hey, I want you to sit up here. I want you to call this list. When you get one on the phone, I want you to hand me the phone. And they would do it. And they'd be like, hello, oh, hold on one second. And they'd hand me the phone. I'd take the microphone and I would have a conversation with the FSBO in front of the whole seminar. And I don't remember a single time that I didn't set the listing appointment. And I would give the listing appointment to somebody in the room, in the audience. I'd be like, here you go. And that's what this is you can be in a place that you can convert every single FSBO that you talk to. I want you to know that. I can do that. I can convert if you get me on the phone with a FSBO, I'm converting them every single time. It's just a matter of getting them on the phone. And the reason is because of what I'm going to share with you. Step two is we have to have a strategy. Because if we don't have a strategy, we're not going to do it. Right? So here's what we need. We need three things. We need to know what your target market is. Like in your area, what is your target market? Who are the key targets in that area? And what are the lead sources? I had a conversation, I think, with the gentleman last week. And I won't mention any names. You know who you are. But he wants to do 10 million in sales this year. And I said, I go, what's your market? And he told me his market. And he's in a little community. I go, and I said, what's the biggest market in that area? Like the biggest community? And it was, a city that had, hundreds of thousands of people. I said, do you market there? He says, no. I says, well, you're going to start because that's where it's going to give us the contacts and the numbers. So some of you need to expand your market. Like if you're in a city and if you're in Minneapolis and you're in St. Paul, you need to be marketing to Minneapolis. If I'm in Dallas, Fort Worth or Dallas, then, and I'm going to take this system to Fort Worth. So like, think about your area of who you currently go after and how can we expand it. Now, I would not tell you as your coach to expand your business unless it's through a niche. The only reason I'm telling you to go expand your market is because FSBOs are the niche, and there's going to be more FSBOs in that adjacent or parallel market, right? So look at, and I know all of you are all around the country, but like, you got to know that. And I would say this, expand as far as you're willing to take a listing. Like, would you drive 40 minutes to take a listing? I would. It takes me 40 minutes to drive to Denton, Texas. So I may as well launch this FSBO system in Denton too, if I'm willing to drive 40 minutes. And again, the only way that makes sense is if you're going through a niche. I wouldn't say, okay, let's go after all of Dallas, Fort Worth, and we have to go generate our own leads. We got to go, do direct mail marketing campaigns. We got to do TV rate, like all that. I'm not telling you to do that. The safe way to expand your market is through a niche. Okay. And we got to know what that is. So I want y'all to be thinking about that because everybody's in different places. Couple things. Here's where we find them once we know where we're going. I'm going to give you some lead sources. Zillow, Make Me Move. Does Zillow still do Make Me Move offers, y'all? Does Zillow still let you go in and put Make Me Move, where you can go in there and I know they made some changes, but there was a feature where like you go in Zillow and there's a Make Me Move where a seller could go in there and say, hey, I would sell, and they're able to post it on Zillow. This is low-hanging fruit and it's free. So leverage Zillow to find these FSBOs. Another source to find them, which is this is a blue ocean strategy because nobody's using VRBO for this. But VRBO is an amazing source for sale by owners. These are usually like investors that own a house. And I love this niche because especially now, these sellers or vacation rental by owner folks, they have more equity in these vacation rentals today than ever before. So I would encourage you to go after the absentee owner market. This FSBO system will work with that niche. It makes sense for all of these sellers to sell. Does it not, by the way, y'all, make sense for if you have a vacation rental to sell the house now to get your equity out? Does that make sense as a real estate professional? To have a seller do that? You can just shake your head. Just give me some acknowledgement.
I have people looking to get into it.
Yeah, looking to get into it, looking to get out of it.
Yeah.
All right. So in your market, by the way, like if you're in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, VRBO is going to be huge there. If you're on any, like, I'm going skiing in a few weeks. I booked a vacation rental in Utah, right? In these places, some of you are in a gold mine and you don't even know it. So start pulling the vacation rental, the Airbnbs, those types of lead sources, because those folks are low-hanging fruit. Nobody's marketing to them. And I promise you, you can convince these people to sell. Then next is Landvoice. This is my favorite because they will send you a list of for sale by owners every day. I mentioned Warnock's earlier because Warnock's is Landvoice. They changed owners or names. So like you can go to landvoice.com/Haas, or you could call them, tell them that I sent you. I send them a ton of people, a ton of referrals. I would like to see all of you have a lead source where they're sending you all the FSBOs every day. And Landvoice is a great service. I would encourage you to get the premier leads so you can get as much data as possible. We want cell phones, social media profiles, email addresses. We want all the data that we can get on the FSBO, and Landvoice does a great job of providing it. We had JC last week talking about Landvoice. JC, I know you use Landvoice, already getting huge results. That was the case for me too. First day I got it, I took my first listing. And it's not even that much money. You need fuel for the vehicle. We're going to build the vehicle, but consider this stuff the fuel. We need these leads on campaigns. And so if there's any time to make an investment in your business, it's in a lead source, especially a seller lead source. And I know there's other ones out there. So you have RedX is another great one. Vulcan 7 is a great lead provider. They're all a little bit different in their own right, but just start with one. And wherever you go, tell them I sent you. Usually they will give you some bonuses. They'll hook you up. Okay. So now we have leads. What do we do with them? Well, we got to start bringing them value. In fact, I'm going to share some things with you in the chat. I'm going to share. First off, let me see. Is that right here? There you go. Let me know you got that. This is a Dropbox link, and it's a link to live prospecting calls with me calling live FSBOs, just like I was from the front of the room I was telling you all about. Now you get to hear me do that. And I have MP3s of me calling FSBOs. And then I have the call. Some of these calls are 15 minutes long, by the way. So you get tons of meat in these calls. You're going to learn so much. And you're going to hear these words that I say, and you're going to hear how I bring value to them and how I find the pain. And what's going to happen is when you take my calls and you listen to them, and then you make the calls yourself, you're going to get 10x better on the phone, 10x faster, okay? Because you're hearing me and you're doing it. You can't just listen to me and not do it and expect to be a stone cold killer on the phone. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want you every day on the phone saying these words, and I'll give you the scripts. I'll tell you what to say. But in this Dropbox link, I have FSBO calls and expired calls, and I coach you on what I said. So at the end of the call, I coach you. I said, here's what happened on this call. Here's what I did. Here's what they said. Here's why I said that. And so these will help you get really good, really fast. And another thing I'm going to share with you is you're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. I'm going to share this with you because I'm about to show it to you. And I don't want y'all being like, oh my gosh, where do I get this? That's the 90-step guide. So this is a guide that I use to bring value to FSBOs. It's the 90 steps you can't afford to neglect when selling your home. This is a great tool to give the FSBOs to bring value to them. They love it. It works. It's a good wild card, shock and awe effect. Okay. So you guys have that. You can take it, you can edit it. I gave you the editable one. So you can put your name on it, your picture on it, make it your own, print it out, put it on an email, put it on a link, send it to them. You can do that. Okay. So you're welcome, Nick. You're welcome. You're welcome, folks. Yes. Yes. What's up, Mark Anthony? Welcome to the team, bro. Fellow Texas boy. JC says, hey, Hoss, do you call on Sundays? I don't call on Sundays. I never have called on Sundays, but that's just kind of me. I'm just kind of a no Sunday type of guy. In fact, when I sold real estate, I didn't even work weekends. I didn't work Saturdays and Sundays because I was young and dumb at the time, and I like to go have fun. I'd go to the lake on the weekends. But here's what I had. I would have 50 to 100 active listings. And so as I'm doing what I'm doing, I have other agents showing my listings. That's why listings bring freedom, right? So, but it's up to you. And yes, JC, if I were you, you're in the penitentiary of results for a few years, right? So calling on Sundays, I mean, yeah, Miami never sleeps anyway. You know what I'm saying? So call on Sunday, call early, call often. Okay. If you're going to reach more people on Sunday, especially if you're single, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, it's easy when you're single. Like you could do this 24/7, man. No kids, no spouse. All you need to be doing is call on some FSBOs. All right, let's keep trucking. There we go. All right, so I got you guys everything. If anybody, did you all get both of those? Yep. Okay, perfect. All right, so what do? We got to bring, here's what I want you to think. I want you to think in terms of value. This is huge. Like when that FSBO answers the phone, all I want to do is just bring value to them. I'm not trying to take the listing because there's going to be people that try to take the listing and it just doesn't work that way. What we do is we stay in touch longer, more often, and more consistent than any of our competitors. Your competitors are not going to be calling this FSBO after 1 week. You will be, because you have a system that you depend on. So just know that, like, after a week, here's what will happen the first day you call them. You're the 100th realtor to call me today. Oh, I know. Because agents will be calling them. But here's the thing, because agents don't have systems, they're not consistent. And so they're only going to be doing it for a week. So you're going to have all of your competitors fall off after 7 days. And after that, you're the only one in contact with them, sitting there bringing them value. Now, here's what value looks like. I want you to have core value offers, things that you can give away. Right? Like I just gave you the 90 Things report. It's a great guide. It's an ebook. It's a way to bring value. It's a core value offer. Some other ones are a free home evaluation, offering seller disclosure notices. Like think about the paperwork that we deal with, that we have, that a FSBO doesn't. I mean, most of them don't have seller disclosure notices. Whenever we're able to, in our conversations, we're able to reveal that, we're able to bring value to them by sharing these things. Okay. And by the way, just because you give them a seller disclosure notice doesn't mean that you're not going to get the listing. Okay. Remember, we're bringing value from contracts, addendums, marketing plans, free reports, books. I mean, there's a lot of books out there that will bring value. Vendor list. All of you should have a vendor list, a list of all of your preferred partners and vendors. I would call these people and say, hey, Mr. Painter, I'm going to put you on my preferred vendor list. Does that sound good? Can I do that? Are you taking new business? And what's that going to do? It's going to encourage him to think about you whenever he comes across a seller. Same thing with the plumber, the handyman, the lawn guy, the roofer, the insurance agent. All of those people, you should have a vendor list. It does two things. It helps you build relationships with business owners in your community, which is huge. Because think about it, painters and those people come across sellers oftentimes before you do. So create that vendor list if you haven't already. Training webinars. I've told so many people to do webinars for sellers. I don't know anybody that does it, honestly. For whatever reason, I think they're scared to do it. But like, I would love to see some of you put together some training webinars for sellers. I mean, how to sell your home fast for the most amount of money. Being able to offer that to a seller brings them value. A free strategy session. I love these, especially with Zoom. You could do a quick 20-minute strategy call with the seller. You could do it on Zoom. It's kind of like a mini listing presentation is what I would call it. And then offering specialized programs, offering free lead generation signs. I used to have a sign writer that I would give to FSBOs that said, for more information, call 1-800 extension 200. And it would be a recording of the FSBO. And I would just give that to the FSBO to put on in their front yard. Why? Because they're not going to sell their home on their own anyway, y'all. Over 80% end up hiring a realtor. So like, don't go at this and thinking, oh, I don't want to give them things. I want you to think, give them everything, because they're not going to do anything with what we give them. Okay. So think in terms of abundance and not scarcity. Here it is right here, the 90 Things report that I gave you. This is a great guide to start with. I have people, by the way, that put their picture on the front. They print this thing out. They have boxes of them. They give them out to people. And it's, I wrote this thing too. So it's really good. And it'll bring them value. So you have that. Like that right there. So you can brand it yourself. Put your picture on it. By the way, this girl right here was a school teacher. Her Monica Benavides. She's a Keller Williams agent down in the Rio Grande Valley. She called me and said, hey, Haas, I heard that you're the guy to hire to coach. I'm getting into real estate. I'm a school teacher. And I worked with her. Within a year, she was the #1 listing agent, #1 realtor in her entire market. Today, she's still the #1 realtor in her market over 10 years later. And she does exactly what I'm telling y'all to do, from the expireds that we covered last week to the FSBOs we're covering this week. And now her business is mainly repeat referral. So what happens is when we serve the haven't met market, and we serve them, what happens, that business turns into repeat referral. There will be a day where your business is all repeat referral if you want it. And so just know that it's not, once, because then they go into the Met database and they turn into referrals. Present solutions. Here's what I want to see in your business. I want to see a marketing arsenal that is programs that you offer that establish value. It is no longer about you. It's about your, especially to the FSBO. It's not about you. It's about your smart seller program. Mr. Seller, I have a smart seller program. It allows you to sell the property yourself while it's listed with me, and you don't pay me a single penny unless I sell the house. You see, when you have these programs, it gives you the words to say. You can say the reason that I outsell the average agent 10 to 1, Mr. FSBO, is because we have a certified pre-owned home program that's exclusive. Buyers want they want certainty in the transaction, and our certified pre-owned program provides that security. In fact, it sells homes for 4.8% more money, 28 days faster than the MLS average. You see, here's what I want you to start thinking of. You need an umbrella. Just think and put our marketing hat on for a minute. And I thought of all of these, by the way. Like, I made them up, created them, built them out of what I'm saying. I need a message. So in an umbrella, it's one message. It's one thing that encompasses all the other things. My 89-point marketing plan is better than I'm a marketing expert, right? So it gives you something tangible to hang on to. Like, you got to call it something. I'll give you an example of this. I'm in Dallas. In Fort Worth, years ago, y'all may remember this, there was a kid that got drunk, crashed his car, killed a few people. I don't know, maybe 2 to 4 people, got in a drunk driving accident. He was underage. I think he was like 17 at the time. Y'all remember this. And he went to trial. He got out of going to prison because his attorney says, you can't prosecute this kid. This kid has affluenza. His parents were rich. They spoiled him his whole life. Like, the last thing you want to do is throw this poor kid who suffers from affluenza in prison. It's not his fault. He was spoiled as a kid. And he hung everything on affluenza. He made up a word, the attorney made up a word called affluenza that gave everybody permission. Like, yeah, you can't throw the kid in prison. He has affluenza. That's what I'm talking about. That is, you got to have affluenzas in your business. In the absence of affluenzas in your business, you don't have a message. You don't know what to say. You don't know the value you bring. You don't know how to overcome objections. One of the things that all of these things do is they overcome any objection thrown at you. Like, I want an aggressive agent. If I'm going to hire an agent, I want an aggressive agent. Mr. Seller, if I don't sell the home in 29 days, I'm going to sell it for free. The reason I can guarantee that's because our 89-point marketing plan works like magic and selling properties just like yours in Willow Bend subdivision fast for most amount of money. In fact, it's the reason that we're able to outsell the average agent 10 to 1. Do y'all think I've ever said those words before? You see what I'm saying? Like, it's just in me. I mean, I'm a machine. Why? Because I've said them so many times. And you're going to hear me on those calls say those words over and over again. And so what I want for you is I want those words in you. For those words to be in you, you need the solutions in your business that you can confidently speak of. Are y'all, does that make sense? Is this helping you? All right. This is huge. And this is a biggie, because in the absence of what you're seeing right here, what's the message? Like, what am I even going to talk about? Like, that I'm the #1 agent? No, because if I'm not the #1 agent if I don't have these things. So if you want to solve problems, start leveraging solutions in your business. Back up. There we go. There's 4 parts to this: prospecting, cultivating, positioning, and closing. I'm going to go through each of these. The first is prospecting. We have to prospect for new business every day. Every single day in real estate, you have to do this because you're unemployed every 90 days in real estate. Once you close a transaction, you have to go get another one. And so you don't want to be on the income roller coaster where you have a good month and you have a closing and then you don't prospect, you don't do anything, and then you suffer the next month. Y'all, I've worked with thousands of realtors, and most agents are on the income roller coaster, which is a stress fest because they're not consistent in their prospecting. Be consistent in your prospecting. Commit to 3 hours every single day of setting appointments. If you're not going to do it, hire somebody else that will. I mean, I had Gidry. I hired Gidry to make those calls after got so good at it that I was like, man, I need somebody else to make these calls because I'm going on all these appointments. I don't have time to do it all. So like when I hired him, I doubled my business because I went from being on the phone for 3 hours a day to being on the phone to 8 hours a day. An inside salesperson is one of the best hires you could ever make if it's the right person. It's a skill. So, I wouldn't be outsourcing it to the Philippines. Maybe you would. I mean, there's some good Philippine, call centers out there, but like we need people on the phone setting appointments every day. You're going to call between 7:30 and noon in the morning. Now I say 7:30 because I have clients that call that early. I've never called that early, but I know people that do with a lot of success. You're going to piss a few people off, but that's okay. You're not making money if you're not pissing a few people off. You know what I'm saying? Like it's going to happen. So like pick the time that every day that you can time block to follow the system, to prospect and to be the maker in the morning and the manager in the afternoon. We make the cheese in the morning, folks. We can't avoid it. You're going to ask them 3 questions. I'm going to give those 3 questions to you in a minute. I'll tell you what to say. Then we disposition the lead. Like, are they serious? Or are they not? Are they a time waster? Are they out of my system? I'm documenting the conversation on every single one. And know this, you may suck at the beginning, but you make up in numbers what you lack in skill. If you suck on the phone, then I want you on the phone 8 hours a day until you get to a point where you don't suck. The only way to not suck is by doing it. Y'all with me? You got to do it. And with combination of me and you're going to get it really fast. If you're listening to me and you're having those calls, we're talking about a 2-week period of sucking. That 3rd week, you're going to have more confidence because you're going to start getting results. All right, next, cultivating. Now we want to think in terms of, it's not one call does it all, even though it can be, but like, I want you to think in terms of cultivating. Everybody's motivation and timing will be a little bit different. So we want to build strong relationships. 80% of sales happen on the 5th to 12th contact. So if you don't convert them on the first one, the second one, the third one, that's okay. Like, don't beat yourself up. Like the 5th to 12th contact is where a lot of it happens for people. Less than 3% of agents make more than 3 contacts. You know why? Because they don't have a system. That's why. So they don't do it every day. We're going to use a swarm method marketing approach. So we're omnipresent, like they see us everywhere. And then a 90-day execution sheet. Step 3 is positioning. I want you to think in terms of positioning. How do you position yourself, your message, and your services? Positioning is a good word. Like, how do you position the listing appointment? How do you position the call? Demonstrating your value. Developing innovative solutions, right? That's a great way to position you as the expert. Here's what I would tell you. I want you to position yourself as the for sale by owner legend. You are the leading authority in helping for sale by owners in Rio Grande Valley get their property sold fast with the least amount of hassle. That's your specialty. So whoever you're calling, you're positioning yourself as the expert. If I'm talking to an expired, I'm going to tell that expired, Mr. Seller, I specialize in helping people sell their property that other agents failed to sell. We specialize in helping expired listings sell for top dollar. So whoever you're talking to, you're always positioning yourself as the expert in that niche. That's why I like books, because books are a great way, by the way, to do that. I'm not saying you have to go write your own book, even though it would be helpful. I know that like there's a lot of resources out there that you can put your face on a book and you have a book. Why would we use that? Because it gives us a positioning 10x effect. It makes everything easier when we do that. And I don't know about you, but I'm about helping make things easier. Okay. Next is closing. Here's the thing. When you do these first 3 things, closing's easy. People will close themselves, so to speak. But you got to understand this. The purpose of the phone call is to set the appointment. Don't get it twisted. Don't be trying to list the house on the phone. So there may be things you say, well, I'm going to cover everything when I sit down with you and go over everything with you Thursday at 7:30. Well, what do you charge? What's your commission? I'll go over everything with you and I sit down with you Thursday at 7:30. Well, what are you going to price the property at? I'm going to take a look at it and I'll go over everything with you when I sit down with you Thursday at 7:30. Like, I'm not getting into the weeds on the phone about details of the listing. I'm going to use the listing to do that. I'm trying to create interest, creating interest in the appointment, creating interest in the value that I'm going to bring them. The purpose of that appointment, by the way, is to close for the listing. I have a rule. I don't do two-step appointments. I do one-step appointments. I know some of you would do a two-step appointment. Well, hey, can you come back? I never did that because I could close them at the appointment. If they call me and they're like, and I'll give you some scripts here shortly, but like if they're like, hey, I want you to come back, like I'm going to show you how to not have to come back and how to convert them on that first listing appointment. And know this, that closing should always feel easy. And it's a natural next step when you follow this. It feels sleazy when you don't do the first three things. And if it isn't easy, you failed at those first three things. So you can't, this isn't just closing people, it's leading people. Step 3 is FSBO follow-up. All right, I'm going to speed up because I got a lot to cover here and I'm going to respect your time. So here's what we need. We need, now, once we have the leads, we need a campaign to put these leads on. Like day 0, day 1, day this, day that. And so we need a CRM to do this. I mentioned this last week. KB Core is one of the best CRMs out there. I know at EXP, y'all get KB Core. Here's what I will tell you. Don't use KB Core, depend on KB Core. Like, I would like to see you at a place that you don't even know how to breathe unless you log into KB Core. You don't know what you're going to do today until you log into KB Core, because that right there is what a system is to me. It's you log in, that system tells you who to call, who to mail, who to text, who to email, and it does it. So like, it comes down to a CRM and a lead provider. That's all we need. We need the leads, and we need those leads going into a CRM. I'm going to say this again. Depend on a CRM in 2022. If you're not productive and you're not skilled and you're not getting results, it's because you don't have a CRM you're depending on, and you don't have leads on campaigns. Remember, every lead is a seed. It's like a seed. It's our job to nurture it, cultivate it to where it grows, to where it will turn into some fruit. So here's a campaign, the 92-day execution plan. I'm going to run this thing for 90 days, 92 days. So if you're a FSBO in Dallas, Texas, you're going on this, oh boy, and you're going to hear from me for 90 days. Unless I say I'm going to take you out, unless you're not worth my time and money, unless you're not in that price point that I'm marketing to, right? I'm trying to weed people out of my system, but everybody's going to go in it. So here's what it is. The first 30 days, it's called full force. The majority of these people will list in the first 30 days. So we're going to hit them hard the first 30 days. We're going to stay on them like white on rice. We're going to try to get them to list because most will. If they don't, then they go to the orange level, which is month 2, which is day 31 through 60. It's not as aggressive as you're going to see, but it's still aggressive. And then if they still are out there trying to sell their home on their own, and most have already listed by now, I'm still on them in that's 3rd gear, which is day 61 through 92. Now I just use colorful language because that's me. I just like to use language that I understand. So like full force, orange, and 3rd gear is just my own creative mind of structuring it. Okay. So the first 30 days, here's what we're going to do. It's 20 touches, 10 phone calls, 5 wild cards, and 5 mailers is what I'm going to send them. And you can see this on the left, the campaign. Day 0, I'm going to mail a special report. Day 0, I'm also going to call them on that same day. I'm going to ask them 3 questions that they have to answer the right way for me to keep them in the system. I'm going to mail a handwritten note card on day 1. Day 3, I'm going to mail a seller disclosure notice with a note, right? And this right here is a system. And this is right here is what people are missing. So like I remember when I discovered this, I'm like, it connected a lot of dots for me. When I saw for the first time what a campaign looked like based on days and actions, I'm like, why is like every lead not on something like that? Like sign calls, buyer leads, referrals. We need this in every niche that we go after. Y'all with me? So like the only way you can keep up with this is through a CRM, because you could not possibly do it with a manual process. You have to do it by automating it, leveraging a CRM. But if you don't have leads on campaigns like this, that's your homework. I want every niche, every lead, every contact to be on some sort of campaign in your database that's communicating to them and telling you when to communicate with them. Because in the absence of this, it depends on our memory, it depends on our willpower, it depends on our organization. And let's just face it, there's just not enough of any of those things, right? So we want to leverage technology to tell us what to do every day from that 9 to noon period. Day 0, I'm sorry. This was the whole thing is 20 touches. This is the first 30 days. So there's 10 touches. So there's 4 phone calls. So I'm going to call them every week that first month. I'm going to send them 4 wild cards, which are wild cards are like the seller disclosure notice, right? It's not a letter. It's kind of like it's the 90 things you can't afford to neglect when selling your home report, right? Those are wild cards. It's the outlaw mailer is a wild card. The things that make it's a shock and awe effect. And then I'm going to mail 2 mailers in that first 30 days. And by the way, only 4 phone calls. You know why? Because I mean, I'm going to get them. I don't know about you, but I'm going to get them. I'm going to get them on that phone. I'm going to convert them. I mean, that's just like, but not everybody does. But for the most part, you can get them. And I use the mailers for me to be able to stay in contact with them. So people ask me this question. Well, Haas, what do you say like on the 6th call, the 7th call? Like, what are you saying? Well, you need to do the mailer so you can say, hey, did you get the mailer I mailed you earlier this week? Yeah, I got like a whole stack of them. Yeah, it was the one about the certified pre-owned program. Did you have a chance to look at it? No, I haven't really had a chance. Okay, well, have you sold the property yet? No, I'm gonna write it back into the conversation. We use the mailers to give us permission to call. So what are you saying here on the 10th call? Hey, did you get the mailer I mailed you last week? Hey, have you sold the property yet? What's going on? What are you doing to market the home? And so if you don't have mailers going to them, it can get kind of awkward. Right. I mean, like, remember, we're following a system and that's the reason. Now, do all the mailers convert? I mean, sometimes they do, but look, I'm in sales. I've been in sales my whole life. I don't depend on mailers to do the selling. I know that the selling comes from a conversation and the mailers will make that conversation easier. Okay. So those are the first 3 months that you're in contact with them. And then what we're trying to do is we're trying to eliminate them. Okay. And we're going to do this by asking 3 questions. And it's how to get any FSBO to say yes in 8 minutes or less. Here they are. There's 3 qualifying questions that you're going to ask at first contact. When you hear me on the phone, you know what you're going to do? You're going to hear me. You're going to hear me say these questions in every single call. Every call, I'm going to be, Mr. FSBO, let me ask you a question. If I brought you a qualified buyer, would you be willing to pay a 3% co-op? I'm asking them if they're willing to pay a buyer commission. So I have a slew of buyers. I have a database of qualified buyers. I want to know every single property available to those buyers. And if this FSBO is selling their home, I want to know if they're willing to pay a 3% co-op. Because here's why. Let's say I charge 6% commission, 3% is halfway home. If they're willing to pay 3%, then they're just going to have to pay 3 more to get me as a full service agent. If they're not willing to pay 3%, then they're probably not going to pay 6%, and I'm going to take them out of my system. Delete, next. So, Mr. Seller, if I brought you a qualified buyer, would you be willing to pay a 3% co-op? No, but I'll pay 1%. And I repeat it. So you're telling me if I brought you a qualified buyer, you wouldn't pay me 3%? Well, no, why? Do you have a qualified buyer? I have loads of qualified buyers. What I want to know is if I could procure a buyer for your home, would you pay 3%? Well, I guess I would. You see, sometimes you have to ask, you always, not sometimes, always. If you get the answer that you don't want, you need to find another way to ask it again to make sure. And you're going to hear that on my calls. I'm going to say, so you're telling me if I brought you a qualified buyer, you wouldn't pay 3%? No, I'm not. I'm trying to save commission. All right, have a great day. And that's it. And so here's what they said. They say, no, I'll pay 3%. I say, perfect. I'm going to put your property in my database of homes where I match the criteria of my homes with, or my buyers with the features of your home. And if I have a match, I'll bring them by. Let me ask you this, Mr. Seller. How long are you going to try to sell this home on your own before you decide to explore other options? Man, I don't know, a month. I need to get this property sold. So I'm going to try to sell it on my own for a month. Here's the thing, a pro tip, whatever they give you in time frame, cut it in half. And that's when they're going to list it. It's crazy. It's like, just try it. When they say they're going to list it in 2 weeks, they're going to list it in 1 week. When they say they're going to list it and explore other options in 4 weeks, in a month, that house will be listed in 2 weeks. So you got to know their time frame so you know how to base your follow-up, right? So, and we want to get a time frame. What if they're not willing to answer it? I don't know, I'll do as long as it takes. What do? We ask them the question again. So you're telling me if you haven't sold this property in 6 months, you're still not going to explore other options? Well, I mean, it's going to be sold in 6 months. I mean, for sure. But yeah, I mean, if it's not, I'm gonna have to do something. Remember, we're the doctor. We're in charge, not them. They're not in control of this conversation. We're in control of the conversation. If we get an answer that we don't like, we ask that question a different way. And that is so important, y'all, in every conversation, because people just say stuff. You know what I'm saying? They don't even know what they're saying half the time. I mean, and then if we keep trucking, let me see right there. All right. So Mr. Seller, in that time frame, if you do decide to explore other options, do you have a close friend or family member that you would feel obligated to work with, or will you be up for interviewing some aggressive agents? You know what? My mom is in real estate. So if I don't sell it in 2 weeks, I'm going to have to list it with my mom. Okay, perfect. You know, by the way, I've taken listings from moms before, but for the most part, they're probably going to list their mom. So like, they're probably not worth our time and money. If they say my next door neighbor is in real estate, or I already have an agent that I'm going to list with, that's what I'm looking for. And if they say, no, I don't, I guess I'd be up for interviewing some aggressive agents. I'm going to say, perfect. Do you mind if I stay in contact with you? Send you some information that's going to be useful in you selling your property. You mind if I stay in contact with you? Every single person says, no, I don't mind. Now I have permission to follow up. And so the first call is like this every single time. You're going to ask these 3 questions, but there's bridge questions. So when you listen to my calls, I may not ask those questions in a row. Like it may not, I'm going to put a bridge question to before I ask a power question, because it carries momentum. So like, let me explain. Mr. Seller, if I brought you a qualified buyer, would you be willing to pay 3% co-op? Yeah, we're paying 3%. Okay, perfect. Let me ask you, why are you selling the property? You know, we're moving to Utah. My husband got relocated. We're moving there. Okay. You know, how did you come up with the price of 150,000? Right. Whatever. And these are bridge questions. And I'm going to say, well, you know, we just looked at it on Zillow. It's a Zestimate. All right. Well, let me ask you, how long are you going to try to sell a home on your own before you decide to explore other options? You see, these bridge questions, you put them between power questions, and it keeps the momentum going. Does that make sense? Just nod your head. Yes. Yes. Let me see. We got, yeah. Good. Look at everybody, man. Y'all are a handsome group of folks too. All right. This is it. So these bridge questions, here's what we do. All we're doing is we're just seeking, we're digging. Like, are you getting any showings? What's the feedback of the showings? You know, are you familiar with like anything? You know, do you know how to negotiate on a scale of 1 to 10? How important is it for you to sell this property? So take a picture of this so you have it. But you're going to hear me use these in every call. I'm going to ask a power question, put a couple bridge questions between them, ask another power question, couple bridge questions, boom. And then I have a solution at the end of the call. Closing statement. Dang, son, we're already out of time here. All right, closing statement. Here's what I want you to do. There's 2 things that you're going to say at the end of the call. Let me get my notes here. I can't see it on the screen. Closing statement. Where are you at? So I appreciate your time today. I'm going to be sending you some information that's going to be useful in helping you sell the property. Do you mind if I stay in contact? Great. All I ask is if you do decide to explore other options, I want an opportunity to apply for the job of selling your home. Sound good? That right there is a powerful thing to say to that FSBO. We're asking them permission. If they do decide to explore other options, I want an opportunity to apply for the job of selling your home. And they always say, yeah, perfect. Stay in touch. Yeah, I'm happy. And boom, that's the first call. Now, if we close them, here's what I'm going to ask. I'm going to ask a qualifying question. So if I set the appointment, this is the case for any niche, by the way. Anytime you set a listing appointment, you're going to say this. Now, let me ask you this. When we meet Thursday at 7:30, let's say you love everything that I offer and have to say, you agree that my marketing plan will get the job done. You love my easy exit listing agreement. You see that I can get you top dollar for the property, Mr. Seller. Is there any reason why I could not earn your business tomorrow at 3:30? You like that, don't you, Maria? It's a good one. Why? Because this is positioning and qualifying the appointment. So I want every time you set an appointment to ask this question. If I come out there, you love everything about me, you think I'm the greatest agent in the world, you love my marketing plan, certified pre-owned program, we connect, we agree. Is there any reason that I cannot expect to earn your business tomorrow at 3:30? Well, no. I'm not doing anything tomorrow at 3:30 because I'm interviewing 2 other agents on Friday. Okay, perfect. Well, here's what I want you to do then. I'm going to reschedule for Friday because I want to be the last one. And here's why. Because I want you to interview those other agents, see what they're going to do. And when I come by and I'm going to show you how different we are, I'm going to blow your doors off with how different we are and how we get results for our sellers. So Mr. Seller, all I ask is do not sign anything with any other listing until any other agent until we meet Friday at 3 o'clock. Does that sound good? Yep. You see, I would have never known that if I didn't ask the qualifying question. Like I wouldn't have known they were interviewing agents. And the last thing you want to do is ask a FSBO, are you interviewing agents? Why? Because what if they're not? And they're like, that's a great idea. I am going to interview some agents. So we want to have a little finesse in what we're doing. Here's another reason we ask this question. Let's say we get there at the listing and they say, okay, great, Haas. Thank you so much for your time today. My wife and I are going to think about it and we'll get back with you tomorrow. Whoa, Mr. Seller, wait a minute. Remember on that phone, you said that if I came out here, you love everything about me, we agree on price, terms, and conditions, I could earn your business. So Mr. Seller, what is it that you're looking for in a realtor that we didn't discuss tonight? Great line, y'all. You know how many listings I've saved for myself because I was able to do that? Well, we didn't like your commission. We were wanting to pay a little less because nobody wants to think about anything. You know what I'm saying? So like, they're not going to think about it and call me tomorrow. There's something that was missing that they didn't connect with. And so our job is to find out what that is, because I have a rule. If I leave that appointment, I'm not going to get it. That's me. Okay. If I leave that listing and I don't get that listing signed, sayonara, adios, gone. Now, that may not be the case for you, but it is for me. That's what I tell myself. Maybe it's my presentation style. Maybe it's my, my doctor approach. But like, if I leave there, I'm not going to get it. So there would be times I would say, look, Mr. Seller, obviously I can get this property sold. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go outside. I'm going to let you and your wife talk about it and think about it. And then you guys can come out and tell me if we can do business or not. But I'm not going to come back because I'm here to take this listing now and I'm confident we can get the job done. So I'll give you guys a minute. And I would just go outside and let them think about it. So like everything has a purpose. Everything has a reason. And all of this stuff's important. So here's what we want to do. Call each new FSBO and the old ones. So right now you have FSBOs that were on the market 12 months ago. Call Landvoice, ask Chad Bobo. He's my contact. He's one of the contacts I have over there, and say, Haas said you can hook me up with the old FSBOs. So these are people that were on the market a year ago, 6 months ago that haven't listed and haven't sold. Those are great people to call right now because right now they have more equity in their home than they did before. And you can get that property sold today as fast as you could before. So like the old FSBOs, will give you an abundance of people to call. You're going to call them. You're going to ask the 3 questions, but this is both new FSBOs and old. You're going to take great notes of every single conversation, not too many, just bullets. So you remember when you call them the next time, what was talked about. Timmy had a birthday, was heading to a softball game. So I'm going to say, did you win that softball game last week? Right. That's why we document conversations. So it gives us a place of reference to build rapport. And then we're going to use the closing statement or qualifying statement every time. All right. Define success. These are your action steps. What are you going to do? What does success look like to you in this niche of FSBOs? Develop your 5 core offers. Create your marketing arsenal. Build your solutions arsenal, which having those solutions in your business. Implement the FSBO execution plan and follow a model that works. Listen, y'all, if you do this, you're going to get results. I've taught hundreds of agents this, how to do it. Everyone that does it gets results. The only time they don't is if they don't. So I just want to encourage you, if you're looking to get more listings, you're looking for a surefire way to do it, FSBOs is your answer. This system is your answer. If you're looking for a complete system to do it, you can get my boot camp. You can go to FSBOassault.com, FSBOassault.com. If you want to buy some speed, you can buy all the letters and everything there. It's a whole system that you can get. It's really cheap to do it as well. But I already gave you several resources here today, from my live calls to the guides. Step into it. Do it. Start today. Take the first step. Get a lead provider and commit to going after this niche, y'all. And I want you to report back. I want to hear success stories. I want you to tell me what you're hearing. I want to hear your calls. If you want to record your calls, I love listening to me some live calls. We'll do some live call clinics on here. I'll help you out. So that's it for today, folks. I'm out of time. We are already 7 minutes over, but I did tell you I had a lot to cover. So hopefully y'all got it. Did this help you today?
Hey, House, I think we're missing the 99 or the 90 step that you were talking about for FSBO.
Oh, no, I already covered it.
The link that you were going to add?
Yes. Oh, the FSBO Assault link?
Right.
Yeah, FSBOassault.com is the link to the boot camp. FSBO Assault, ASSAULT. And what I'll do, if you guys want it, it's a whole system. I'll send it to you. I give you as much free stuff as I can. So it's all there. But if you want the FSBO Assault, you can go there and I'll hook you up. Okay. Okay, y'all. That's it. Let's go out there and make it happen. Make me proud too, man. I want to hear some success stories. So who's going to be the first one? Some of y'all are going to be on a listing appointment today, and I want to know all about it. So hope this helps y'all. We'll see y'all next week for next week's Power Coaching on next Tuesday. Thank y'all.